Ever wondered about the story behind that creamy, dreamy bowl of fettuccine Alfredo? Well, today we're diving into the delicious history of this iconic dish that has graced dinner tables around the world. But first, subscribe and let's set the scene. Picture yourself in the heart of Rome, Italy, circa early 20th century. It's a bustling city filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread and simmering sauces. In the midst of this culinary paradise stood a quaint little trattoria owned by a man named Alfredo Di Lelio. Alfredo was not just any restaurateur. He was a passionate chef with a knack for turning simple ingredients into culinary masterpieces. One fateful day, fate intervened in the form of a tired and hungry American couple who stumbled upon Alfredo's trattoria. The wife, suffering from a severe case of morning sickness, could barely stomach anything except for plain noodles. Now Alfredo wasn't one to turn away a hungry soul. With a twinkle in his eye and a dash of Italian flair, he whipped up something special for the lady. He cooked up a batch of fresh fettuccine, tossed it in a generous amount of butter, and showered it with Parmesan cheese. Legend has it that as soon as the woman took her first bite, her face lit up with delight. The simple yet decadent flavors danced on her palate, and her appetite was instantly restored. It was a moment of pure culinary magic, one that would go down in history as the birth of Fettuccine Alfredo. From that day forward, word of Alfredo's miraculous pasta spread like wildfire throughout Rome. Soon, his trattoria became a hotspot for locals and tourists alike, all eager to taste the dish that had captured the hearts and stomachs of so many. And thus, a legend was born, a humble plate of pasta that would forever bear the name of its creator, Alfredo Di Lelio. As the aroma of Alfredo's signature dish, Fettuccine Alfredo, filled the streets of Rome, word began to spread like wildfire. Locals, tourists, and even the occasional celebrity couldn't resist the allure of this creamy pasta perfection. Alfredo's trattoria soon became the place to be seen in Rome. Celebrities, politicians, and dignitaries from around the world flocked to his restaurant, eager to experience the culinary magic firsthand. From Hollywood stars to European royalty, everyone wanted a taste of Alfredo's famous fettuccine. It wasn't long before his trattoria gained international acclaim, with visitors from far and wide making the pilgrimage to Rome just to dine at Alfredo's table. The media couldn't get enough of the story either. Newspapers and magazines hailed Alfredo as a culinary genius, and his recipe for Fettuccine Alfredo became the stuff of legend. But Alfredo's fame didn't stop at the borders of Italy. In fact, it was just the beginning of his culinary conquest. In the 1920s, Alfredo took his talents across the Atlantic to the United States, where he opened a second trattoria in New York City. New Yorkers, always hungry for the latest culinary craze, embraced Fettuccine Alfredo with open arms. The dish quickly became a staple on menus across the city, cementing Alfredo's status as a culinary icon on both sides of the Atlantic. Today, Alfredo's legacy lives on in restaurants around the world, where diners continue to savor the creamy goodness of his iconic pasta dish. So the next time you twirl a forkful of Fettuccine Alfredo, remember the man behind the magic? Alfredo Di Lelio, the Italian chef who captured the hearts and appetites of food lovers everywhere. Now, as Fettuccine Alfredo's fame spread across the Atlantic to the United States, American chefs couldn't resist putting their own spin on this classic Italian dish. In the 1970s, during a culinary renaissance in America, chefs began experimenting with Alfredo's original recipe, adding their own unique touches to create what we now know as the Americanized version of Fettuccine Alfredo. One of the biggest changes came in the form of heavy cream. While Alfredo's original recipe called for a simple mixture of butter and Parmesan cheese, American chefs decided to kick things up a notch by adding cream to create a richer, more decadent sauce. This creamy twist took Fettuccine Alfredo to a whole new level of indulgence, making it a favorite comfort food for many Americans. But the innovation didn't stop there. American chefs also started adding proteins like chicken or shrimp to their Fettuccine Alfredo dishes, transforming it from a simple pasta to a hearty, satisfying meal. This American twist on Fettuccine Alfredo became hugely popular, spreading from coast to coast and appearing on menus in restaurants across the country. So while purists may argue about the authenticity of Americanized Fettuccine Alfredo, there's no denying its popularity and deliciousness. Whether you prefer the classic Italian version or the Americanized twist, one thing's for sure: Fettuccine Alfredo is here to stay, delighting taste buds and warming hearts, one creamy bite at a time. Now that we've delved into the fascinating history of Fettuccine Alfredo, let's talk about the dish itself. The good, the bad, and the downright delicious. First up, let's talk about the good. I mean, come on, who can resist that creamy, cheesy goodness? Fettuccine Alfredo is the epitome of comfort food, with its velvety sauce clinging to each strand of pasta like a warm embrace. Plus, it's incredibly versatile. You can keep it simple with just pasta and sauce, or you can get creative and add your favorite proteins and veggies for a more hearty meal. But as with any indulgence, there's a flip side to all that deliciousness: the bad. Let's face it, Fettuccine Alfredo isn't exactly what you'd call a light and healthy meal option. With its rich ingredients like butter, cream, and cheese, Fettuccine Alfredo can be quite heavy on the waistline if eaten too often. So while it's perfectly fine to indulge in a bowl every now and then, it's probably best to save it for those special occasions. But enough about the bad, let's get back to the delicious. The reason we all love Fettuccine Alfredo in the first place. There's something truly magical about that creamy pasta, isn't there? Whether you're celebrating a special occasion or simply craving a taste of comfort, Fettuccine Alfredo never fails to deliver. So the next time you find yourself craving a hearty bowl of pasta, why not treat yourself to a little taste of culinary history? After all, life's too short not to enjoy the delicious things it has to offer. And there you have it, the fascinating tale of Fettuccine Alfredo, from humble beginnings in a Roman trattoria to becoming a worldwide culinary sensation. So next time you twirl that creamy pasta onto your fork, remember the legacy of Alfredo Di Lelio and savor every delicious bite. Until next time, keep exploring the delicious world of food history with us here at Foodstorian.